So you want to take a 160 balloon with a tail of a couple of fingers and twist off a bubble that's perhaps about 6 inches or so. Okay, and then twist off another bubble to match. Bring the two together and just take that nozzle and pull it through. Okay, and then we want to make another 2 bubbles to match the first 2. And then twist off a bubble of about 3 fingers, and we just want to rest that in that join there. And then twist off another bubble of 3 fingers or so, and we want to pull that down to the centre, twist the 2 together. Okay, twist off another bubble of about 3 fingers, and then we just want to pull that up. And again, just rest it at the centre, twist off another bubble of about 3 fingers, pull that down to the centre and twist everything together. Okay, and we can break the rest off and tie. I've made a daisy flower with 6 petals. If you don't know how to make a daisy, I have got another tutorial, and I'll put a link in the tutorial here. So if you need to learn how to make a daisy, there's a tutorial there for you, and I'll also put the link in the description, so make sure you check that out. And I'm just going to use that tail to pull into the centre of the flower, and then just arrange my petals and have my butterfly just alighted on that daisy to have some nectar. I'm going to take my butterfly, and I've got a diamond clear 160 with a good long tail. I'm not going to use all of it. I'm just going to take that nozzle, wrap it into the centre of that butterfly, and then I am just going to take this diamond clear down into the cluster of flowers here, and I'm going to position it so that the butterfly is just flying above those flowers. You're going to need a 160 in a colour of your choice. I'm using pink. So I've got a couple of fingers of tail there, and I want to twist off a balloon, a bubble that is perhaps about 7-8 inches or so. And then I want to twist off a smaller bubble that is perhaps about 4 or 5 inches or so, and then just twist those 2 together, take the nozzle and just pass that through. Okay, and then I want to make another bubble that matches this one, and then bring that down and make a second bubble that matches this one. Okay, so we've got 2 wings like that. Give your balloon a little squeeze, and then I want to make a bubble of perhaps about 3 fingers or so, and bring that up and just rest it in the join there between those 2 bubbles. Then bring your balloon over the top and make another 3-finger bubble, bring that to the centre and just wrap that round. Okay, then make another 3-finger bubble and bring that up here, just rest that at the centre, bring it down, make another 3-finger bubble and just bring that to the centre and then twist everything together. Okay, and then we can break this end off and we can tie. For our butterfly's body, take a 5-inch round. I'm using Spring Lilac, and I want to inflate this to about 3.5-4 inches. So that's 4 inches. I'm going to let a little bit of air out, and I'm going to tie. And I'm going to make a soft knot, which means I've not pulled the knot tightly. And I just grab hold of that knot, and I'm now going to roll that knot along the neck, so it moves along the neck and ends up closer to the bead on the nozzle. Okay, and then I can squeeze the air into the neck. I can take hold of my 5-inch round and I can twist off a bubble on the end. Okay, so take hold of your butterfly's body. I just like to keep hold of those 2 bubbles in between my little finger and my ring finger. Take the 2 and just wrap into those wings. And then just arrange everything so that these larger wings are on the top. Okay, and now we can draw the face. So to draw the face, I first make 2 circles in blue. Then I take a black Sharpie and I draw 2 black circles inside, or a black circle inside each of the blue circles. Then I take my Edding 750 paint pen and I draw a white arc like that, and I just outline and then fill that in, and I do the same on the other side. Which I just do this way. There are other ways to draw faces. You can design a face yourself. I just fill this in with a bit of red. I like to outline the iris like that, and then I bring a line out here like that. I'll do the same on the other side. And then I just do 3 little eyelashes. And then the final touch is just to take the tips of 2 160s or 260s, if you've just got the tips left, tie them together and then just pull that up under the neck, and you've got a pair of little antennae. For my balloon butterfly, I'm using chrome gold, and I'm going to inflate to a tail of about 4 fingers. Just let a little bit of air out to soften the balloon and tie. And then twist off a bubble that is about 4 to 5 inches and make another bubble to match. Okay. Bring the 2 bubbles together, take hold of that nozzle, twist it round and pass that knot and nozzle through the centre. Okay, that's just going to help ensure that that doesn't come undone. Give your balloon a bit of a squeeze, just to soften it. Okay, and then we want to twist off a bubble that is a little bit smaller, so somewhere between 1 inch and ½ inch smaller than your first set of bubbles. Fold that over and make another bubble to match. Okay. So bring these 2 bubbles together and just twist them round, okay? And you can take that knot and nozzle and pass it through that set of bubbles too. And again, just going to help secure those bubbles whilst you work. Give your balloon a squeeze. And we want to make another set of bubbles that again is just between 1 inch and ½ inch smaller than the previous ones. Twist up another bubble so you've got 2 bubbles the same size and twist those together. Okay. And swap everything around a bit to just lock everything in position, and that's what you've got. And you're going to want to arrange them in order of size, and we can just snip off the end, let that down and tie a knot. So arrange your bubbles in order of size and hold on to them. And then take hold of this tail here, this little bit of scrap, and pull that through the centre of those bubbles, okay? So just really pull it through. So it's nestling in between the join there. So as tightly as you can. Go over the top here, right back down here. And then here, just grab hold of that knot and nozzle and tie together. Okay. So there's your first wing, and you want to make another one of these. Take your 2 sets of wings and just tie them together. Okay. So that's what you've got. I'm using the black 260, and again, just inflating. We're not going to use all of this. So just inflate part way, let out a little bit of air just to soften the balloon and tie. Okay, give your balloon a squeeze and twist off a bubble of a couple of fingers and then twist another bubble to match. Okay, so that's what you've got. Bring those two bubbles together, grab hold of that knot and nozzle and just twist the two bubbles together. And then take hold of that knot and nozzle and just pass it through the centre of those two bubbles. And that's a really easy way to pinch twist. So if you're struggling with pinch twists and you're uneasy with them, that's a really easy way to do two pinch twists at the beginning of a balloon, a modelling balloon. So give your balloon a squeeze just to soften everything. Take those wings and just encircle those wings loosely with that 260. Okay, so your wings, the size of your wings will determine how large or how small your butterfly's body is going to be. I'm happy at that, and I'm just going to wrap that 260 around a little bit and then break or cut off the end and then tie that into a knot. Okay, and if you just want to secure that end, you can just wrap it through the centre of the 260s and around a little bit. So we just need to arrange our butterfly's body. Okay. Okay, so just take your pipe cleaner and roughly find the centre. Okay, and then take hold of the end of the pipe cleaner and with your tweezers, just twist it round. Perhaps easier if you do this on the desk or on the table. Okay, and then we will try and do something on the other side to match. Just needing to hold the beginning just to start it off and guide it. So just twist around, sort of height. So take your antennae and just pass them underneath one of those pinch twists and then bring them through the centre. Okay, and that's just going to secure those in position, and then you can just angle them however you want them to sit. To start off with, I'm using 4 5-inch rounds. These are pearl magenta, and I'm just going to inflate with 1 stroke pump and then just massage those a little bit just to sort of bring the shine through. Give that a twist. Inflate your next 5-inch round again with just 1 stroke of the hand pump. Just massage that a little bit. Cross those necks over one another, wrap around a couple of times and tie. Okay? And make another one of these. This is a duplet. Your 2 duplets, put them together, connect them together, just wrap around a couple of times, and that's just going to connect those together. I'm using a 260 in lime green, and I've got a tail of maybe 5 or 6 fingers. Just give everything a little bit of a squeeze and make a loop of about 4 fingers. Give that a twist, take that neck and nozzle, pass it through the centre. That's just going to make sure that everything stays connected and doesn't come undone. Make another loop of approximately the same size. What I like to do with this second loop is just take that knot and nozzle and wrap it through, because again, that just secures everything nicely. And then make a 3rd loop. Okay, and just twist those loops around. So that's what you've got. At the end here, I'm just going to snap out the end a little bit and then make a little bubble here. And then just press on that bubble and hey presto, you've got a little poodle's tail. Okay. Take your cluster of 4 and just with one of the nozzles here, just connect to the top of that green 260. Just wrap that nozzle around and that's just going to secure those in position. Okay. Inflate a 160 to just a 1-finger tail. I've not yet tied this. I'm going to tie directly to the end. Okay. And then we're just going to split this very approximately in half. Okay. So just pinch here and rotate one of the bubbles, either the top one or the bottom one, and that's just going to split that in half. So bring the 2 together, wrap around, you can pass that through, again that's just going to lock everything in place, and then we're going to do the same thing, split this in half, just fold it over pinch here and take hold of the top section and just twist. Okay? So you can see that split the balloon. We'll do the same thing on this side. Pinch here, twist the top section. And these are just very approximately in half. They don't have to be exact. And then take this section, twist here. Take this section, and just push it together here, and we can twist these loops together. So we've got 4 loops. Take the knot and nozzle and just pull it into the centre here. Okay, just wrap that around those 5-inch rounds. So that's what you've got at the moment. You're going to struggle to get these to lie flat at the moment. Next, take a 260. I'm using chrome mauve, and I'm just going to make a small bubble. And then I'm going to make another bubble to match that. Bring the 2 together. Take that knot and nozzle, pass it through the centre. Okay? Give your balloon a bit of a squeeze. And then I want to make a bubble that is just a little bit bigger, perhaps half an inch bigger than the first 2. And then make another bubble. Twist those 2 together. Okay, so that's what you've got at the moment. Make another bubble that is again about half an inch bigger than the previous 2 bubbles. And make another bubble to match. And twist those together. I'm going to make one more bubble. This is again about half an inch bigger, and make another bubble to match and twist those together. And just trim off the end and tie a knot. So that's what you've got. I've got that little bit of 160 from the flower, and I'm just going to wrap that into the centre here. And then I want to position my bubbles in order of size. Okay, so we've got the smallest working through to the longest. And then take that 160 and pass it up through the centre of each of the sets of bubbles. Okay, so you want to pull it quite tight and try and keep those quite tightly together. Okay? So pull them as tightly as you can through the centre, back through here. Okay, so we've gone through the centre, and if you've got enough room, go around again. And then when you get back to the centre here, tie everything together. And I'm going to tie 2 knots, just to be on the safe side. And make another one of those. Next I'm using a 260 chrome purple with a 3-finger tail. And I'm going to make a bubble that is about 3 inches. And then make another bubble to match that one. Bring those 2 together, pass that knot and nozzle through the centre, just to secure everything. Give your balloon a bit of a squeeze. Make a bubble that is about half an inch larger. Make another bubble to match that one. Twist those 2 together. Okay, and then make another bubble that is about half an inch larger than the previous ones, and make another bubble to match that one. Twist everything together. I'm just going to snip off the end and tie. Next I'm taking a 160, which I'm just going to wrap into the centre here. If I had a longer bit of slack left from this purple balloon, I could use that for this next stage. Arrange your bubbles in order of size. and take hold of that 160 and pull it through the centre. Okay, so wrap through the centre of those loops that we made and back again and around. And then when you get back to the nozzle end, just tie that 160 there. And make another one of these. So take your wings and just tie them loosely together. We don't want to tie them tightly, just loosely tie. So you want a bit of movement in those wings. And do the same thing with the larger set of wings. Just tie them loosely together. So you've got perhaps an inch or so between. Take your flower and the loops and just flatten these loops on the top of your flower. You're going to have to hold them in position. Then take your butterfly, this long piece of slack, and just pull that into the centre. So I'm just wrapping through the centre of the flower, just pulling that all the way through and wrapping into the base. Okay? And back up into this cluster of 5-inch rounds. Okay? Take your next pair of wings, and with that bit of slack in the middle, I'm just going to pull that up under this cluster of 5-inch rounds, and I'm going to pull that through into the top of the flower. And just arrange those wings. Next, I've got a 160 in black with a tail of perhaps about 3 fingers. We're not going to use all of this. So just twist off a small bubble of a couple of fingers and then another one to match. Bring the two together, twist the two together, and if you possibly can, pass that knot and nozzle through. Okay? And then what we can do, we can take that knot and nozzle and just pass it through the centre of those two bubbles, and that is just going to pinch twist those two bubbles. Take your 160 black and position it just at the front here, so these larger set of wings, that's where it wants to be. And I'm just going to feed it underneath these wings. Okay, so we've just got a little bit poking out here. Bring this round the other side. I'm just going to make a little loop here. And then push the 160, the black 160, underneath the wings. Okay, and then take a look. Okay, and then wrap the black 160 into those pinch twists at the front. Okay, we can break this off. And tie. So I want to angle these flower petals downwards a little bit, so I'm just going to massage them down. Okay, that's going to help your butterfly sit nicely on the top of the flower. Next, I've got a pair of tweezers and a pipe cleaner. This is quite a sparkly pipe cleaner. And I've folded it so that one side is slightly longer than the other. And then I'm just going to take my tweezers and I want to curl these forward. So rather than curl them sideways, I want to sort of curl them forward if I possibly can. So I'm just going to take hold of those tweezers and curl them round. Curl the pipe cleaner round. Okay. Extract your pipe cleaner. And we want to do the same thing on the other side and have one that's a little bit taller than the other. Just curl it round. Then I'm going to take the antennae and I'm just going to fit them underneath these two pinch twists here. And I've got a little bit of slack here from that 160 that I didn't cut off, and I'm just going to wrap it around the pipe cleaners just to secure them in position. Remember to pop the like button. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you think of this tutorial of this butterfly. in the comments below. I'm not so sure I've picked the right colours for the flower. Let me know in the comments what colours would you have gone for here. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky when you're wanting to showcase the chrome and not detract too much by what's going on here. This is essentially just a base. But let me know what you think about the colour combination here. What colours would you have picked? What colours are you going to pick for your butterfly on a flower? So I'll see you again in the next video. To need a 260 inflated to about 5 fingers, okay, and we're going to make a 4-finger bubble. Okay, make another bubble to match this one. So to do that, you can fold your balloon over, measure, okay, so that's what you've got, and then we're going to twist this section into this section here. So just take hold of that knot and twist your balloon around, and then pass the knot and nozzle through the centre of that little, those 2 bubbles. We're going to make 2 more bubbles as before, so give your balloon a squeeze. That's going to help ensure it doesn't pop, and make another 4-finger bubble. So we can just compare that to the others. Happy with that, and then make another bubble to match this one. Okay, and then twist this section into this section here. And again, I'm going to pass that knot and nozzle through the centre of those bubbles. Okay, so that's what you've got. Give your balloon a squeeze. We're now going to make a bubble that's just a little bit bigger than the ones we've just made. So maybe 1/2 inch bigger. Okay. And then make another bubble to match this one. So compare, twist, and then you can wrap this section into this section here. Okay, so just wrap around, and then just wrap those 2 bubbles around the other bubbles that you've made. And then we want to make 2 more bubbles to match these larger bubbles that we've just made. So you've got your smaller ones at the bottom and your slightly larger ones on the top. Give your balloon a squeeze, fold your balloon over just to compare the size, make a twist, and then make another bubble to match this one. So again, I'm just folding the balloon over, comparing the bubble that I'm making with the previous one, and then I can wrap this junction into this twist here. Just take hold of those and twist them around. Okay, and now I can wrap all these bubbles around one another. And then we can snip off the end of this balloon, if I can find my scissors. Okay, so just snip a hole in the end, let the air out, and tie a knot. Okay, and then we can just pull this tight and then trim off the end of that 260. So wrap the nozzle and knot into the centre of your butterfly, okay? And starting with the small bubbles first, make sure this balloon is nice and soft. Just encircle those bubbles and then grab hold of the lilac balloon here and twist everything around, okay? Give your balloon a squeeze, and this 260 probably had a tail of about 5 fingers when I started off. I should have mentioned that, sorry. And then again, wrap your 260 around those 2 bubbles, squeeze here and just twist around. Okay, you can see where this is going. We're going to work our way around all the bubbles, just squeezing that there, twist around. And then one final time, I'm just going to stretch this out one final time around here, squeeze it in at the centre and twist at the centre. Okay. So if your balloon is fully inflated here, we can just snip off the end, and if it is fully inflated at the end here, just pinch a bit of latex and then snip a hole in it. Let the air out slowly, otherwise your balloon might pop. Okay, so then we can tie a knot and we can trim away this excess here. Our scissors. Can't keep hold of that. And then let's arrange everything. Okay, so we want our 2 larger bubbles next to one another and our two smaller ones. Okay, so that's what you've got. I've inflated a 160 to a long tail of maybe 7 or 8 fingers. Okay, so make a bubble of a couple of fingers and then make another bubble of a very similar size. Okay, and then wrap the knot into this twist here. So just grab hold of them. And then you can take the rest of this balloon and just pull it through the centre of those two bubbles, and that will magically pinch twist them. Okay, so that's what you've got. Give this a bit of a squeeze and then take hold of your butterfly. Position the pinch twist at the top of the large loops and then bring this all the way over the back here. So we're wrapping it round and then we're going to pull this 160 into the base of the pinch twists. So just wrap that around a few times and then we can snip off the end here. But save this little piece of 160, let the air out. And for this design, I find it helpful if I can find the nozzle at the base of those pinch twists and tie onto the nozzle. It's just a bit of extra security. And then I tie a second time, just with the excess bit of 160. If I said 260 earlier, I meant 160. Okay, so just cut away the excess. Let's have a look at our butterfly. And that's what we've got so far. Take your 160 tip and push it as far down as you can onto the nozzle of the pocket pump and then inflate. Okay, with a couple of strokes pocket pump, and then you may need to just push the air into the tip. Okay, so we want quite a small bubble, so I'm going to let some of the air out. Try and round it off a little bit. I'm happy with that. And tie a knot in the other end. And you're going to need the tip of another 160 and make another one of these. Take your two antennae and just pull those little knots into those pinch twists. Wrap around to secure them in position. And you're done. I've inflated a 260 neon yellow to a tail of maybe 5 fingers, and I'm going to twist a bubble of about 5 fingers and then make another bubble to match this one. Just fold your balloon over and measure against the first one, and then we're going to wrap this knot into this twist here. Okay, so just grab hold of the knot and twist around. And then it's always helpful to push the knot and nozzle through the centre, because that's going to help prevent that come undone. And then we're going to make 2 more bubbles to match these. So again, 5 fingers. So measure. And close is good enough. Don't worry if they're not exactly the same size. And then make another bubble to match this one. So again, fold over, measure and twist. Okay, and then twist this section into this section here. Just twist around. And again, take that knot and nozzle and pass it through the centre of those loops. And we can cut off the end. Just cut off the end, let the air out. And then I'm going to tie this onto that nozzle. Okay, and then we can just trim away all this excess. Okay, so that's what you've got. I've inflated a 260 to a very long tail. We're not going to use all of this. We're going to make some bubbles. We're going to make another section like this, but the bubbles are going to be just a little bit bigger. So maybe a hand span, maybe 4 inches or so. So twist a section here and then make another bubble to match this one. So twist the knot into this section here again, pass the knot and nozzle through the centre, make more bubbles to match these. So let's just measure that and make one more bubble to match this one. So twist and then twist into this section here. Okay, and then again pass that knot and nozzle through the centre, and we can snip off this end. And we're going to save this piece for the antennae and tie that into a knot, and then we can trim away the excess here if I can find my scissors. Here they are. Okay, so that's what you've got. Take the two sections and twist them together. Okay, I've got a hot pink or fuchsia 260, and I've inflated to a tail of 5 fingers, and this needs to be very, very soft. So squeeze it and stretch it, and so it's nice and soft. And then wrap this knot and nozzle into that cluster of loops at the centre. Okay, so make sure everything's nice and soft. And then bring that pink balloon over the top. So where this split is here, bring it over the top of the orange and then over the top of the yellow, and pull that into the centre and twist. With your balloon coming out over the top of the orange, make sure it's nice and soft. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to wrap this over the top of the orange, over the top of the yellow, keeping it nice and soft, and then we're going to twist here. Okay, and then we can snip off the end. Let the air out. And we can tie this into a knot. And then we can trim away the excess here. Whoops, it's flown away. Okay, so that's what you've got. I've inflated a blue 260 to a tail of about 5 fingers, and we're going to create 2 pinch twists, and I'm going to show you a really easy way to do 2 pinch twists at the beginning of the balloon. So if you don't like pinch twists, stick with me, because this is a great technique. Okay, so make a bubble of a couple of fingers. Okay, and then make another bubble of a similar size. So just twist. So we've got 2 bubbles that are similar size, and wrap this knot into this section here. Okay, and we're just going to twist that around. Okay, now you've got 2 options here. If you've got a long section here, you can take this uninflated section and wrap it through the centre of those 2 bubbles, and magically it pinch twists the 2 bubbles. Okay, I'm just going to give this a bit of a squeeze for this next bit. However, if you find that you haven't got enough of a stretchy bit there, then instead take the rest of the balloon and just wrap it between the 2 bubbles a couple of times, and it will have exactly the same effect. Okay, so we'd already pinch twist those, but I'm just demonstrating that that's a technique you can use if you don't like doing pinch twists. So I think that's a little bit of magic actually. Okay, so we need our butterfly. Okay, and we need our wings to be and our colours to be in the same, all lined up. Okay, so take your butterfly's body and we're just going to wrap that around. Okay, and it needs to and it needs to encircle the butterfly. Don't worry if this is slipping out. My yellow section is slipping out, but I'm not going to worry about that. I've got too many things to hold on to. So I'm just going to pull this blue 260 into the base of those pinch twists and wrap around a couple of times and then snip off the end, and then we can let out all the air. Okay, and at this point we can tie a knot. So just tie however you would normally tie a knot. Okay, and then when you've done that, we can trim this away, and then we can just rectify this bit of slippage there. Okay, so that's what you've got. It's all looking really rather lovely and colourful. With the two little pieces of neon, we can make the antennae. So I'm using the pocket pump, and for this I'm just going to push the tip of the pocket pump really right into the tip of that 260, and then I'm going to inflate with 2 strokes. 1, 2, oh, and then off the pump straight away. Hopefully you will get your balloon off the pump a little bit quicker than I managed to there, and then tie a knot in the end. Okay, and you've got one antenna. So I've got our antennae. I'm just going to hold them at the base and pull them into these pinch twists here, and just wrap the ends around. Okay, so that's one end and that's the other end. Okay, oops, wants to fly away. So, and then just move your wings around, line everything up, and there you've got a really adorable balloon butterfly.